Welcome to La Vida Rosa. I'm your host Pinky, and today we will be talking about Married at First Sight. But before we begin, I would like for everyone to check out my website, lavidarosastyle.com, where you can find cute accessories like the ones I'm wearing right now, these gold Afro pick earrings. The link is below. Like, comment, and subscribe. Without further ado, let's get into this video. I don't know why there are so many episodes left. I believe there are like 10 or 11 left. Especially where the couples are now, there is literally no hope for the majority of them. In fact, I think the majority of them need to be broken up already because they've already proven to have toxic behavior, and it's just really cringy. It's really hard to watch. If I were not reviewing this show, most likely I probably would not be watching it. So I understand why some of y'all watch my reviews and don't watch the show, because it's that, like, when we watch TV, yeah, we want entertainment, but from a show like this, we would much rather see majority of the couples be successful than majority of them not. Because watching these people who clearly have issues, baggage, trauma they need to work through, people with low self-esteem putting up with bad behavior, this is hard to watch. I mean, we would just love to see feel good relationships. Even if they don't end up working out, at least let the people that are in them be ready to be married. And I feel like most of the people on this show were not ready to be married, were not properly vetted, were possibly put together for the drama, because honestly this season has produced some of the worst partners we have ever seen on this show to date, and they are all together on this same season. So with that being said, let's move on to the first couple. I'm gonna start with Zach and Michaela because they literally had zero drama. Personally, I feel that Zach and Michaela are coasting on their intimacy or intercourse, if you catch my drift. I feel like they are very compatible in their bedroom, but I feel like that can only take you so far. So yeah, they're having fun on these little fluffy dates and, you know, doing these fluffy activities and giggling and laughing, you know, both of them glowing. But I just feel like if y'all hit a bump in the road, Zach is going to be flaky. He's going to want to leave. Okay. He's going to dip. And Michaela is going to flip out, overreact, and shoot, probably leave herself. So yeah, this is all cute for now. But we've already seen both of their behavior before this. So it just doesn't feel promising. Like, she met with her sister this episode, and when she was explaining like the series of events that went down, I mean, it's fine to be vague with your family, but I just feel like she was giving a very watered down version of what happened. Like, I feel like y'all have had more lows than y'all have had highs at this point, and she was not explaining it in that way. She was very much downplaying their lows, and she had her sister thinking that she had grown leaps and bounds from the immature Michaela that she knew. And I'm like, no girl, she's still there. I promise. I don't think she changed overnight. Her sister says that she bottles up feelings and she acts out an emotion. And I feel right now, this is the bottling up. You know, there could be some things going on that we don't know about that she's overlooking. Some things that Zach is overlooking just to keep the peace, right? But I feel like it's bottled up and it's going to explode like a volcano or a hurricane, like how y'all describe it. I feel like it's on its way, because everything they're talking about is surface level. They haven't really gotten down to the root of that thing. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, not to be pessimistic, but I'm just being realistic. Let's move on to Jose and Rachel. So they're another couple that I'm just like, based off of Jose's past behavior, it's hard for me to move forward. I just feel like everything that Rachel does, he kind of has a condescending view about it. Because of him locking her out, he really doesn't have a leg to stand on to criticize her anymore. So he still has that little condescending eye, like, oh, you like to do that? Like, she was talking about microwaving her eggs, which, girl, who does that? Who does that now? I am a microwave queen, okay? I ain't never claimed to be no gourmet chef, because I am working on it, okay? So I microwave a lot, but I ain't never microwave no eggs. And is that even healthy? Is that safe? And plus, eggs has to be the easiest, quickest thing you could ever make in your entire life. For most people, that's their first meal that they learn how to cook. I mean, come on. I feel like it would take you just as long to cook the eggs in the microwave than it does to make it on the stove. So I kind of understand him side-eyeing that, but they get on the subject of trips again. They have different versions of travel. Hers is an international trip. You know, she wants to go overseas and, you know, see the world. His version of a good trip is like road tripping through Texas and I guess looking at landmarks. So they do have different definitions of travel, but I believe that Jose is just trying to be frugal, cheap, if you will. So they have a conversation later on, and I'm glad I watched Unfiltered because Rachel did not explain herself well in this scene, because it just came off like, you know, I'm off during the summers and I'm gonna have an attitude during the summers with you. Really what she was saying was because she has the summers off and she likes to keep herself busy, she likes to travel during the summer, and she is doing all the compromising. She's gonna have to move into his home, and she's gonna have to make she went from having a 30-minute commute to work to having an hour commute to work. And so because she's compromising so much on her end, she feels like he should compromise on his end and let her travel internationally, you know, let her spend the extra money, whatever. So that's what she meant by she'll be moody in the household and she'll have an attitude with him. That's if she don't get to do the traveling that she want to do. She gonna have an attitude. But when she was talking about moving in with him, and I guess like if you are gonna stay with him, then the best option would be to move in with him. But girl, please just say no on decision day, because you already see what he's gonna do if you move in with him and he get mad at you one time. You know he gonna kick you out. So I don't even know why you're even playing with the idea of moving in with him. Like, that's why I could never trust him ever again. If you lock me out of the house, I know you'll kick me out. My name is on the lease. I pay the bills. I do this. I do that. Beat on his chest and kick you out. I already know. But you say that if he said the wrong thing to you, you'll bounce. So I'm just like, why are y'all together then? This is just toxic. So let's move on to Mirla and Gil, our only glimmer of hope this season. Gil's lease is going to be up by the time decision day rolls around. So it's important for them to go apartment shopping, which shows that they do plan to say yes on decision day, at least at this point. But Mirla is looking for a luxury apartment. I'm guessing like similar to the one that they're staying in now, except I guess she wants more amenities and things like that, which shocked me a little bit because I'm like, girl, we saw where you were staying at before, so don't act like you only used to luxury apartments. But maybe now that she's married, she does want to stay in one. Okay. Gil is giving her pushback, but I think Gil secretly does want to stay at a luxury apartment because he ain't pushing back that hard. So later on, she's having a conversation with her friend. Her friend brought up the fact that, you know, Gil is bald-headed, and she specifically said she didn't want someone bald-headed, but she said she decided to focus on the positive and not on the superficial negative things that she didn't want, that he brings more to the table than she even thought that she wanted. And one of those things were patience. She didn't even think that she needed as much patience as she does, because Mirla, you complain a lot, so you do need a little patience. One of their little bumps in the road is that he's a little bit more social than she is, and he likes to go over people's houses. And this is a place where I completely identify with Mirla, because I'm one of those people. I'm not super social. I don't like people coming over all the time. I don't like going over people's house all the time. I'm a homebody. I'm a little bit antisocial. I'm an introvert, so I can identify with that. But where she lost me was they were supposed to go over one of his friends' house because they just got a brand new house, I guess like a housewarming type of thing, and she wanted to meet them at a bar. And it's like, girl, the whole point was to see their house. All right, her friend was trying to tell her, girl, that doesn't even make any sense. Okay, they're gonna think you're rude, they're not gonna like you. And Mirla was like, I don't care. But girl, if you're gonna be married to Gil, you're gonna have to get used to the fact that he's social. Y'all gonna have to compromise on that. Plus, you're going to need to get to know his friends, and they're going to need to get to know you. So then he met with his friend. He said the only thing that is a turn off to him about Mirla is that she throws tantrums. And when she said that she won't change her lifestyle for anyone, and he said he thinks that's selfish. But I'm just like, obviously he means the money that she spends, but she compromised with you about this dog, because later on in the episode they showed us she literally has her own relationship with this dog now. She walks the dog, she's sweet to the dog. I mean, like, have a relationship. And honestly, I told you I'm not a dog person, but that kind of warmed my heart to see that Mirla really is making an effort to love this dog. You know what I'm saying? To the point where she wants her own dog. So that shows you right there that she's willing to compromise, because when y'all first got together, she wasn't even trying to walk the dog. You know what I'm saying? So for Gil to be saying that right now, I'm like, I think you need to be giving her a little bit more credit. Mirla might say certain things that are like matter of fact, but I think the fact that she is warming up to you, it'll soften her up and make her compromise. So, you know, they're doing great. I'm excited for them. And I just want Gil to stop being so nitpicky with her, because I feel like she really is putting her best foot forward with him. And she's trying. So give her credit. So let's move on to Brett and Ryan. Point blank period. Ryan is too shallow for this. He should have never signed up for this show. Have you watched the show? Have you seen past seasons? You are never going to get matched up with a Victoria's Secret model, okay? You are never going to get matched up. First of all, if you think you deserve a Victoria's Secret model, okay? First of all, you need to look in the mirror. Do they match? Second of all, you need to look at your bank account. Is it big enough to get a Victoria's Secret model? No? Well, guess what? You need to take your standards and bring them down to your level where you are. And you need to bury your ideal woman right next to Johnny's. Because I'm sorry to break it to you, but that's just completely out of your league, honey. I'm so sorry. In the beginning of the episode, we see him and Zach working out together, and Zach points out to him that clearly you have already decided that this is not going to work. Why even try at all if you're going to have that mindset? Which Zach actually gave good advice right there. Ryan's main problem is he is too weak to be honest and direct with Brett and tell her about his doubts and the fact that he's not attracted to her. He just doesn't have it in him. The whole time I'm just sitting up here like, man up, be honest. You act like you're trying to spare her feelings. You act like what you're doing is helping in any way, when it's really making the situation worse. When really it's digging away more at her self-esteem. The fact that you keep stringing this situation along is making it worse. So she set up an outing for them to do some sort of extreme obstacle course. This is something that he would like to do. He loves like being active, going to the gym, things like that. So she's trying to step out of her comfort zone to do something for him. They were on a double date with Jose and Rachel. There was one particular obstacle. Jose, Rachel, and Ryan were able to do it. And it was hard for Brett to do. She could not complete the task. And the whole time, you know, Rachel and Jose are encouraging her, rooting for her, cheering for her. And Ryan is literally standing there on mute, like almost looking embarrassed or annoyed with her. And I'm just like, Ryan, like, at least cheer for your wife. If you would make an effort to actually care about this woman or get to know her, she doesn't work out, but you do. Why don't y'all work out together? Why don't y'all, you know, go to the gym together? Why don't y'all, you know what I'm saying? Like every time we see you working out, it's with someone else. Why don't you try to invite Brett? Why don't y'all do these things together? So she could see a different side of you. So you could see a different side of her. But no, you don't want to put in that effort. Later on, he goes and meets up with his sister. And he revealed that Brett is very messy. And when I saw that video of that bathroom and that closet, I was disgusted, okay? Ain't no way your place should be looking like that, especially when you live with someone else. Like, there's no excuse for that. And if I were him, I wouldn't be attracted to that either. I was on his side with that until his sister said, well, what if it's a Victoria's Secret model and she left dishes in the sink? He said he would be scrubbing those dishes with a smile on his face. So, while her being messy might be a turnoff to him, it's only that big of a turnoff because he's not attracted to her in the first place. So leave her. Leave her. If you're not going to try whatsoever, if you don't see any sort of connection with her, stop dragging this and leave. So at the end of this episode, they have another conversation, and yet again, he refuses to be honest with this woman. I mean, he's sleeping on the couch. So clearly there is an issue. Why don't you sit there and break down to her what the issue is? She's not crazy. Because if y'all were in a better place, you would be staying in the same bed with her. But instead of like actually saying what was on your mind, oh, I'm not going to sleep on the couch anymore, I'm going to sleep in the next bedroom. But Brett, I'm going to put some of this on you too, because you're someone else who avoids the difficult conversations. And I feel like you should confront him and make him be honest. You should make him say it. And what I mean by make him say it, ask him the hard questions. Why don't you want to stay in the same room with me? Why won't you be affectionate with me? Why are you not trying? And make him say that he's not attracted to you, or whatever it is that he's feeling, so we can go ahead and end this. I could not let this situation keep stringing me along. It would irritate me so bad. I could not. Finally, Johnny and Bao. So at the beginning of this episode, they are making a meal together. Bao was constantly doing things to try to please Johnny. So if cooking a meal for him is going to help, if flirting with him more is going to help, she's pushing herself constantly out of her comfort zone to try to appease him at every turn. But obviously they can never have a good moment without him ruining it by complaining about what she's not doing, instead of, I don't know, acknowledging the things that she's actually doing that you said that she wanted to do. So you want her to cook, she's cooking. You're not saying anything about that. You're not acknowledging, oh, it's not enough, because that's like I guess the baseline thing she should be doing. And we're going to get into her cooking later on, because I do owe Bao an apology. So they start discussing how much they are putting into the relationship. Bao says she feels like she's giving 100%. And Johnny was like, basically, well, if you're giving 100%, I'm giving 150. How, when your answer to conflict is leaving, you treat the relationship as if it's disposable. Then they get into the conversation about how they show that they care. You know, her way of showing it is acts of service. So she will fold his clothes, or she will buy different things for the house. He was like, well, I do that too. So that cancels out what she does, because you can do it for yourself. So he just can demand, but will never acknowledge her effort or give her any compromise in return. Mind you, while they are having this conversation, he is at like a 10 with his anger. Like, he is way too hype. It's not necessarily him raising his voice. It's just his tone. It's the way he's coming at her. He's turning red. Like, Johnny has anger issues. And we've seen him be angry a few times on this show already. I mean, just last episode with him ripping up the flowers. Up until now, it hasn't been like a wild outburst. It's just been, you know, simmering. It's like he has like a seething, simmering anger under the surface of what he's saying. And honestly, this conversation didn't even call for that. So I didn't even understand where the anger was coming from. I mean, it was really like Bao was his mother and he was a rebellious teen. That's the way their conversation was coming off. And I don't understand how she kept her composure, because I would have been snapped on Johnny. The way he provokes so much. It's like he's trying to make her snap. So he storms out. I guess while he's in the next room, they decide to do her confessional. And the next thing you know, you hear somebody going, "Aah!" in the next room. Johnny is literally throwing a temper tantrum like a child. And I believe I heard a loud thud, like he hit the wall or something. I don't know what was going on in that room, but it was scary. If you're capable of that over this little argument y'all just had, I can only imagine if your anger escalates, or if other people were not in the room, because, you know, when they film, they have producers, cameramen, things like that. You were willing to act a fool while people were there. I can only imagine how your behavior is off camera. And then when he walked out, there was no apology. There was no, oh, I'm sorry about that. I don't think he saw anything wrong with what he did. And once again, Bao is coming over to console him, because he was acting a fool. He's manipulating to feel like she has to carry the weight of his baggage. When at the end of the day, I don't know what you going through, Johnny. I don't know what you got going on, but you need to go and resolve that. Whatever that is that made you act like that, that don't have nothing to do with Bao. You don't know how to control your anger. That's a you problem, and you need to figure it out, and figure it out fast, because no one deserves to put up with behavior like that. And of course, by the end of their conversation, he leaves. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he started this entire fight just so that he could leave, because for real, y'all were having a good night seemingly, and then y'all got into this tiny argument and you left. Yeah, no, I think he started that whole thing just so he could leave. And he didn't come home, which is a mess, because the next day his family was having a get together. They was having a crawfish boil, and honestly, if I was Bao, I wouldn't have wanted to go after that, because he just completely acted a fool. I wouldn't have even wanted to go. But we see security cam footage of Bao literally memorizing his family's name, because I guess their names are in Mandarin, so she had to memorize their names. And y'all, it literally broke my heart. Literally taking time out of her day to memorize those people's names, and for him to tell her not to come. He's trying to be mean. He's trying to be nasty. He's trying to rub it in her face. He's such a jerk. She was so upset about that, because obviously she spent all this time, preparing to meet them, and he just completely disinvited her. And Bao was just saying, like, yeah, we got into it, but we're married, and married people suck it up and they still go to family events because, you work through things. Meanwhile, Johnny is at his family gathering, trashing Bao to his family, like saying every nasty thing he could think of to say about her. The things he was saying, it was very minuscule. So they all were looking at him crazy. They all were calling him out. And this is you talking to your family, skewing the events, and they're still taking her side. I mean, he was talking about he wants a high school romance, and his uncle was like, Johnny, this is not high school. Johnny, real life is not a high school rom-com. High school ain't even like that. So you have a very unrealistic or romanticized view of what you would think a marriage is, let alone a relationship. At this point, I want to give Bao an apology, because I believed him last week when he said that she doesn't cook for him. And no, they might not be gourmet meals or whatever, but obviously she does meal prep for him, because later on when she brought that up, he did not deny that she does that. So if she takes time out of her busy schedule, it's not like she's sitting at home twiddling her thumbs. It's not like she's a stay-at-home wife, okay? She has a job as well, and if she takes time out of her day to meal prep for the rest of the week for you and for her, and you don't have any sort of appreciation for that, that is trifling and that is trash. He thinks that she's supposed to do stuff like that, so therefore she shouldn't receive credit for it. I mean, because he really tried to paint her as someone that is lazy to his family. I could not believe that. So then they meet with Pastor Cal. Once again, he wants to play the victim, but he is so mean. Like, some of the things that he was saying, like, even if you really feel that way, you said it with a nasty tone, and you said it in a nasty way to make her feel bad. You want to dig in that knife and twist it. You want to make her feel less than. You want to tear down on her self-esteem. The way you talk to her is unacceptable. All the work that Bao put in, she definitely don't deserve you talking to her like that. You don't respect her whatsoever. Like, for instance, he said, why would I bring her around my family if I don't even like her? He says that she isn't genuine and she lies to keep up appearances. This is what he constantly says about Bao. But based off of what I saw on Unfiltered, Ryan was on there and Rachel was on there, and they said when they watched clips of how Johnny behaved in their relationship, with him throwing that tantrum and everything, they were shocked, because he never shares with other people that he throws the outbursts. He only tries to paint Bao in a negative light, but he never tells the negative things that he does. So really, this whole time, Johnny has been projecting. Everything that he says about Bao really applies to himself. And I don't like to throw the narcissist term around loosely, but that's what it's giving me. You're trying to make her look bad to everyone else. Everything Bao does has to cater to you and how you feel. And if she doesn't, then she's a bad wife. You don't have to give her anything. And then you're very charming and you portray yourself as this great guy and being torn down by your wife when it's the opposite. So Pastor Cal calls him out for making excuses and trying to discredit their relationship. And he basically asks him, is there anyone else? Because it seems like your attention is divided and you are sabotaging your relationship. And normally when people do that in their relationship, there's someone else. And he claims that there isn't, but I feel like he drug out this long pause because he really wanted to throw doubt in Bao's mind and wanted to make it seem like there could be possibly someone else. He was almost making Pastor Cal and Bao beg him to answer that question. When you knew the answer the whole time, you could have easily quickly said, oh, there's no one. But no, you wanted to put doubt in her mind and make it seem like there was another woman. Then he took another opportunity to throw a jab at her and say what he has, he doesn't want. Talking about Bao. He said that he's constantly comparing her to his ideal woman in his head. And Pastor Cal went in on him and said, there is literally no one who could live up to this standard. I want to add in there that you ain't nobody's ideal man. You have the nerve to put Bao down and make it seem like she's this awful woman and like she could never live up to your standards, as if you could live up to anybody else's standards. I mean, Johnny, really, your behavior has been bottom of the barrel. And, Pastor Cal tells him you need to have a funeral for that ideal woman because she just does not exist. Pastor Cal goes on to uplift Bao and say some great things about her, that she's a great woman. She does this for you. She's going to be a great wife for you. If you just give her a chance, she's perfectly imperfect for you. And you know what I'm saying? Really giving her some affirming words and encouragement. And Bao broke down crying because she hasn't received any of these compliments from her own husband. She's been trying so hard, going out of her way to do everything that he wants, and he literally doesn't appreciate it and won't say a kind word about her. Every word about her this episode has been words tearing her down. And so I think she was so overcome with emotion because that's what she wants to hear come out of your mouth, Johnny. And you won't even give her that. Later on, she mentioned her parents having a 50-year marriage and how they stuck it out. And I remember a few episodes ago, she mentioned how her father had a drinking problem and a gambling problem. And I'm wondering, is she looking at her parents' marriage as a model to persevere through, even though your husband has this terrible behavior, might not treat you the best, to persevere through anyway, just to make your marriage work, even though it might be toxic? I really feel like she's using her parents' marriage as an example. And I'm just here to say, Bao, you do not have to put up with that. You do not have to put up with that. I also feel like she's always had a crush on Johnny. Johnny is her dream man. And she's willing to put up with all this crap because, that's who she's always wanted. But I'm here to tell you, you can have a crush on somebody and then find out they are not the right one for you. What you had in your mind of who you thought they were, how attractive they were, how they presented themselves to the world, is just not the truth. It's a lie. The persona that he put out there is a lie. It is. It's not real. This is the real Johnny that you're experiencing. Okay? And believe him. Don't think that this behavior is a fluke because he's just frustrated or whatever. Even if he is, he shouldn't be taking it out on you. And you deserve so much better. Bao, leave this man. And even on the preview of next episode, the way he told her, I could have been with you 15 years ago, but I wasn't attracted to you. He is doing his best to tear down your self-esteem. Do not stick around and let him do it. Do not continue to cater to this man and he tear you down. You filling up his cup, he kicking yours over. It is not worth it. I promise you. There is a better man out there that will appreciate you, that will uplift you, that will appreciate all this effort that you're putting in. But y'all let me know your opinion down below. Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? I would love to hear your opinion. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Peace.